Welcome everyone to a new episode of the Zero to Play podcast. I'm your host, Carla Duke, and today I'll be giving a quick overview of how the podcast is performing so far, talking a bit about NFTs, live recordings, some personal updates, and more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 1 of season 4 of the Zero to Play podcast. All right, so this is just a quick video to go over some news from the podcast. So if you're wanting to get straight to the value, I've also uploaded episode 2 of season 4 with John Diaz, who's the senior technical game designer at EA, working on the Frostbite engine. We had an awesome chat, and I do really recommend checking out that episode. But if you want to hear a bit of kind of behind the scenes and some insights into the podcast and some of my thoughts, then please just stick around for the next 5 minutes. So first off, I want to go through some of the stats on the different platforms. I just think it's interesting to document these kind of numbers and then look back on in a year's time and see how the project has grown. So starting off with YouTube, so far since I started season 2 on YouTube, we've gotten 1,951 views, which is really cool. It's definitely the most popular platform, which I'm really happy about. On Apple Podcasts and other like third-party podcast platforms, we have 1,125 views. This is all managed through Podbean, which is the like podcast management software. And that also manages the uploads through like Spotify. Spotify has 1,040 views. So yeah, YouTube's been doing the best. Having video content, I think, is really cool, really powerful. And I'm really passionate about video. So I'm really happy that that's doing well. And seeing how that's evolving as well. I'm experimenting with like different thumbnail layouts and different title layouts and just kind of seeing how that whole game works. But yeah, so this is episode 40 of the podcast. It's awesome that I've been able to keep this up weekly ever since the beginning of the year, which I had no idea what it would be like. But you know, as every week goes and as every guest that I end up bringing onto the show rolls over, I feel even more inspired and more like excited to talk to more people. So I'm not slowing down anytime soon. I'm just kind of slowly iterating on it while I balance my full-time job and other initiatives as well. The next big step that I kind of want to try and figure out is getting like a seasoned sponsor on board. Because I think my time is scarce, and if I can get a seasoned sponsor to just help, pay the bills, and then help elevate the content even more. So, one thing I've been wanting to do for a long time is have like promos for like a teaser for every episode, or splitting each episode into clips so that the questions that are answered are more targeted and easier to find on YouTube, and more searchable and easier to share and stuff, instead of sharing just like a whole episode, having a specific segment that talks about a specific topic that's shared around. But I just haven't got the resource to do that right now. Same as audio quality. I just have a USB microphone that I plug in and use, and it does the job. And I can't really do anything more than that. I don't really tweak audio levels, or I don't even really edit the podcast unless there's a big error or a big mistake or something I need to work around. I just try make it as streamlined and quick to produce as possible. So yeah, that's something I would hope to find as like a good brand that can align with the community, and so that I can afford to hire like an editor and things like that. But we'll see how that evolves. Just some financial stats, like the podcast costs about $250 a season to run. So it's like $250 a quarter, and that includes like a Zoom subscription, Premiere Pro subscription, Podbean, which is the podcast host subscription, and that doesn't really count all the like data, time, things that just go into maintaining the communication with all the guests and things like that, which I think is a pretty cool that I've been able to produce it at that price. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm happy with it, and I'd love to do things like get LinkedIn Premium. If we were to get a sponsor, I would invest in areas like that so that I could reach bigger guests and people that could provide more value on a certain topic. So yeah, that's just kind of an overview of that. The way the next season is going to go, so season 4, it's going to end beginning of December. And the way I've kind of laid it out is one podcast every week. But because of these first episodes being uploaded at the same time as episode 2, I've given myself the month of December off the year. So what's going to happen, and I'll see how it goes, but I'm not looking at uploading any episodes in the month of December, but then starting off season 5 in the beginning of January and starting kind of off strong. So we'll see how that goes. It'll also give me a bit of a break, give me a chance to just think over the year and reflect so that I can make the best changes going forward as I continue to iterate and improve the process. So yeah, one topic that I want to talk about is NFTs. So I've been curious about this. I have a few kind of connections in the space that have kept me in the loop since the beginning of the year, as things have evolved and exploded, and different areas have shown a lot of growth. There's a lot of controversy as well with the topic, just cryptocurrency and blockchain and NFTs. They all kind of hold a lot of weight, and there's definitely a lot of concerns and risks involved. But it is a space that I want to dip my toes into, just so that I can understand it a bit more, because the more I hear about it, the more I do feel like it's going to be something that's here to stay. There's definitely problems that need to be solved, but I'm pretty confident that there's a lot of people out there looking at improving those processes and making them healthier for the environment and things like that. So that is something I want to dip my toes into. And I had this idea of providing an NFT that could, a utility NFT, so something that actually provides access to something and has like a use for it. And what I felt was the best way was to offer access to a private Discord community. So like a private Zero to Play community where every guest that I have on the show, I will be gifting them a free NFT token for the episode, and that token will then give them access to a private Discord community that they can have access to join the rest of the guests. But there'll also be some NFTs available to the public that may want to join that community and find value that way. So I'm going to just experiment with that. So you might see me talking about NFTs a bit more. And it's a space that I'm really excited in, because it's a way to provide value in a different way. And I think there is a real big power to community. And if people do really believe in the community and in like the project, then it can foster some really amazing connections and opportunities. So it's also just a way for me to test the waters, a way to say thank you to the guests by providing them something in return for their time, and a way for me to start to grow like a private community that can grow alongside the podcast as the podcast grows. So I'm going to figure it out as I go, figure out the best platforms, the best way to promote them and things like that. But you might hear some more from me about that. and just know that I'm very conscious as well of, the risks involved. I do think I'll be a very small player compared to some of the big things that are happening in the space, and I'm going to be observing what they do and how they kind of change and evolve, as I kind of learn the ropes of this new space and new technology and new Web3 environment. It's really exciting to be just to be learning about and to just kind of think of different opportunities. And on the other side of that is I'm hoping to have some people in the games and NFT space, like the people that are developing games that are using blockchain technology and NFTs to provide like a deeper experience. And I'm planning on having a few guests on the show to explain their perspective on the industry, and I do hope that shines a light on things like the risks involved and the kind of areas that we need to work on as a society and as we explore this new technology. So expect that, and I hope that those episodes bring value. I'm going to learn a lot from them, and yeah, so I just wanted to give a kind of heads up on that. Some other news, I did a photo shoot with my wife of some new assets for the brand, and we kind of explored making like a new font for the Zero to Play community and the pages. So you might see like a bit of a different look coming up, and I'd love to know your thoughts if you guys think it's good. I'm trying to just elevate the value of the podcast, that when someone's scrolling in Spotify and then sees it, it kind of looks professional and evokes the same kind of feeling that the podcast gives off when you listen to it. So I always appreciate your feedback if you think it's working, if you think it could be improved, if you really don't like it. All that's really good information, because I'm constantly trying different things, seeing what works, seeing how I feel about things. So yeah, that's just something new that's happening. Another area that I'm exploring is live interviews. So I did a live recording with Austin, who's the lead world builder at Rocketworks, for one of the episodes in season 3, and I'm hopefully going to be doing a live meetup in Auckland with a featured guest. It's probably going to be a virtual meetup, but it's going to be in the format of like a live interview type fireside chat situation. And this is something I've been wanting to kind of dip my toes into for a while. I have lots of ideas of live content and how I can bring the kind of experience that I'm getting interviewing guests and bring that to like a real life format, like a live meetup format, and just kind of expanding the reach of the podcast that way. So you might hear from the pages, the Zero to Play pages of some content like that. It shouldn't interrupt the kind of podcast weekly release, but it is something I'm exploring and just testing out to see how I feel about it, to see if it's something I want to invest more time into. Yeah, so other than that, just some personal news. It's currently, what's the date today? It's the mid-September, and I am in the middle as a production coordinator for Rocketworks, in the middle of shipping Icarus. We have like every fortnight we have a beta weekend leading up to our launch in November, and it's really exciting. I had a really cool moment a few weeks ago where Shroud, who's one of the top streamers in the world, was playing Icarus and saying some really amazing things about it. And after working on the game for over a year and seeing kind of his comments and seeing him enjoy it and actually play the game to over 20,000 people was really awesome. And that's just kind of continuing that kind of experience of having a game that's live, is an awesome experience that I'm really happy about, and it's really making me grow as a producer, and that also means I'm going to become increasingly busy until the November release, and after then as well I'll probably still remain busy, but I'm excited to kind of balance that and and kind of see that through. I'm excited to see how people feel about it, how the studio grows and evolves once it turns into like a live project. So yeah, that's something that's happening. Just a heads up, if there are any delays, or hiccups with the podcast, it comes after my job, obviously. This is just for fun, something that I do on the side. Just speaking on that, I had a realization that I've been able to upload weekly for 40 episodes, except one, which was Naftali Faulkner's episode, which was 2 days late. Other than his, I've been able to release all my episodes on time, which I'm really proud of. And it's been a really cool experience, kind of having that pressure on a weekly basis. And yeah, so that was a pretty cool achievement, and hopefully I can keep that up until the end of the year, but we'll see. And the other thing that I wanted to mention real quick is I've had an incredible year being on the board of the NZGDA, the New Zealand Game Developers Association, and that's given me access to some other incredible board members to be able to work with, being able to organize NZGDC 21 and be a part of a big conference was an incredible experience, and just all the other initiatives that NZGDA are part of. It's going to be nearing the board elections by the end of the year, and pretty much it's a volunteer not-for-profit organization that's voted by the community. So I'm thinking about whether I should run again and do the same next year. It definitely takes up a chunk of my time. And I'm just figuring out if that's kind of where I want to put my energy over the next year. So just keep your eyes out if you see me posting about it on social media. I'd love your support if it does come to a voting system and it's about voting the board that you want in to run for the next year. I'd love your support, but I'll give more information about that as the time approaches on my Twitter at Carl's Content. So yeah, those are kind of like two other big things happening in my life at the moment. And that's kind of all I wanted to say for this episode, just kind of give a bit of a recap, a bit of an update. And yeah, I don't want to drag on or take on any more time. But thank you so much for being a part of the community and listening to these episodes. It means a lot to me. I hope they're bringing value and helping you in your game development journeys, or just helping you understand the games industry and kind of where it's going. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me on Twitter at Carl's Content. My DMs are open, and I'd be happy to answer any question or help you out in any way. And yeah, please get in touch with me there. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time, and enjoy the rest of the episodes and the following season 4 of the Zero to Play podcast. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Zero to Play podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Zero to Play, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, or any other podcasting service. Other than that, you can find links to this episode down in the description below, and I'll see you guys next week for the next episode.